I mean, it's incredibly sad. It's actually shocking when you think of the numbers. 2,000 people dead last year in BC.
Yeah.
2,000, I mean, mainly young people, significantly young people. You also have crime, especially violent crime, on the rise across the country, especially on mass transit. And you have the downtown east side. I mean, you called it hell on earth. It's like a zombie apocalypse, or certainly more like a zombie apocalypse than anything like the streets of a first world country. What is going on, in your opinion, and what do you think of Justin Trudeau's decision to decriminalize hard drugs and push for a so-called safe supply of, you know, things like cocaine, fentanyl, and even crystal meth?
Yeah, well, first of all, it is hell on earth to anyone who's been there. You've got 6 people dying every day in British Columbia of overdoses, a 300% increase in overdose deaths since Justin Trudeau took office, more than doubling of overdose deaths since the province first declared the opioid crisis a public health emergency. And worst of all, it's actually getting worse. And this is an important point, because we were all told, okay, the opioid deaths are on a rise because of the COVID lockdowns. And that was credible. The COVID lockdowns were excessive and they destroyed mental health. But what we're seeing is, as we are moving further and further away from the lockdowns, overdose deaths are actually increasing. So when I landed in Nanaimo a week and a half ago, 3 things happened in the first 5 minutes. So, one, guy in the plane walked up to me, opened up his phone, and said, "This is a picture of my backyard camera. 12:48 a.m. Couple of meth addicts in the yard with large daggers and bats, foraging around to steal things, but carrying weapons just in case I walked into my backyard, they could stab me." Then I found out that a gentleman had his tools stolen by the Tent City occupants in Nanaimo. He went to get his tools back. They shot him, so he was in a coma. And then I picked up the copy of the local Nanaimo newspaper, which reported that overdose deaths in Nanaimo have doubled. This is all a direct result of the NDP Liberal policy of decriminalizing hard drugs, using taxpayer money to flood the streets with opioids and other drugs, and the catch and release bail system. And so what is happening is that the so-called safe supply that are paid for by taxpayers, what's happening is it's not powerful enough to keep people high. So the addicts take those drugs, the hydromorphones and other types, they sell them to kids. And then they use the profits to buy fentanyl, which is 100 times more powerful than heroin. The kids get high off the hydromorphine for a while, but then it's not strong enough for them either. So then they go back to the same addicts and say, "I'm tired of buying this stuff. Can you find me where the really powerful stuff is?" And then they end up going to a party, taking fentanyl, their lungs drop, and they're dead at 17 years old. That could be any of our kids. This is not just, homeless youth. This is like suburban kids who are otherwise doing well in their lives, get hooked on the opioids and lose their lives. This is a disastrous policy. I'm also curious to know, how much money are the drug companies making off of the safe supply the government is buying to flood the streets with drugs? We shouldn't be profiting those companies. We should actually sue them. So here's my solution. I talked a lot about the problem. The solution: 1, we've got to ban hard drugs. 2, we have to invest in treatment and recovery inpatient. 3, we need to sue Big Pharma for having originally caused the crisis by spreading the drugs across North America and lying to the medical system about the addictiveness and lethality of those drugs. And I want to collect billions of dollars and put that money into the treatment and recovery of our people so we can bring home our brothers, sisters, friends, and neighbors drug-free.
This week on Christian World News.